Welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. We're going to continue our conversation on building and enhancing emotional awareness and resiliency when you get to be yourself. This is very easy. And that's why, as a 5D mystic, spiritual, self-help, mindfully living, loving person, also mentor, content creator, podcast host, and more, I get to bring you stories. So the stories involve my stories, obviously, otherwise they wouldn't be allowed necessarily. No, some people allow those stories. They will be, I'm joking right now. So what my point is that I will be giving you subjective experiences. That's something that I thought was straightforward with social media, but apparently people think of it as lectures, which they're not. But I do learn from those who are attachment trauma researchers, therapists, and they're awesome. So they've taught me a lot in the past 3 years and ongoing, and I continue to get additional certifications and things for our workshops, retreats, mine, that those of you who will become our community members and maybe mentorees, and the video exercises that come in the future, the inner growth mindset program, things like that. Okay, so with the gist of it though, let's move forward, because securely attached people who are non-traumatized know how to metabolize their emotions because they're navigating their nervous system. So the ventral vagal state, and that's the part of where I'm looking to do, let me story tell you, not give you where I got all the data. Sometimes I do that, but those are for our longer episodes, which is not going to be the case for this one. And when we get our tiers, that'll be something that I can organize differently, because it'll be paid subscription-based model content, and therefore you're actively interested in it. You understand I'm the woo pseudoscience lady, but you understand that I get information from the really smart ones, and that's all of them, because they're all really smart. Just some of them, the 3D, 4D brothers and sisters, they have a different role, and that's where I'm going to let you know we are all children of God. I believe in God, but you don't have to. I, again, am a mystic, and I have clairs, and I'm a downloader, and I'm an Akashic record reader, so I'm going to mix it up. In fact, we do have later on, love is a permanent state when being yourself in the infinite higher human consciousness potential experience, and understanding and communication is an art form self-agents excel in - 5D Mystic Self-Help Mindful Mentor. And this is a card that came up for us. So we have some themes going on, and while the 3D, 4D don't involve their human element, I do. Human, spirituality elements. And sciences and spirituality come together, because that's where Maria can tell you it's all about being yourself. You will not be yourself if you don't know how to anchor in your ventral energy. And that means to navigate life from the first of the nervous system responses for a mammalian heritage when you have a healthy upbringing, and that's your ventral vagal state. So I'm in my social engagement system, and I have my 2-year-old not have inner and outer critic. I have inner growth mindset, and my 1-year-old, she's great, and she has Maria to be safe haven, secure base, even with panic attacks. Okay, so that's just of my stories. So emotional awareness, easy peasy, resiliency as well, which is why love is something you consistently are excited to share. And when people don't believe it's possible, you allow yourself not to point out the weaknesses of your brothers and sisters who could go to therapy with Patrick Tian to learn to love themselves first, to get their emotional body back online, to be in the fetal position with him and or whoever else is a good therapist, and then say, do person that self-help. And those who don't do that, meaning the person that's okay, but at least they went to take care of reparenting their inner child. Now, I have a suggestion for those people though. I would say go to Terry Real, that way you can become a fierce lover, because you saying, do it, makes me know you're not a fierce lover. And so I'm an empowered feminine, and in fact, thanks to empowered masculine, I get to tell you all about polyfidelity and how polyamory is not involving the lack of love or trauma. No, it's involving a person who knows love is permanent, because you don't just randomly pick them. Okay, you actively have a securely attached, non-traumatized woman in the forefront. And so I'm not trying to attach to a person. My love is free, and I will accept you for who you are, and I'm not going to actively have any issue with your emotional plane, because I know how to handle anyone, because that's what happens when you're an empowered feminine. But I'm not going to handle you. You're not my baby. I'm going to tell you what's okay and what's not okay. I'm a fierce lover. And so that's why the sweet spot for any person who is a 5D, mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving individual is going to be empowered human beings. That's our divine counterparts, and they don't have to be part of your oversoul, not your oversoul. For those who do know about twin flame, flames, soulmates, all that, people who are using words over how they feel when they wake up in the morning are the same people who are not actually caring to become emotionally aware that affect is always in the lead and that they want a window welcome to. And their energy body involves their emotional body and their mental body. I'm an Akashic record reader. Did I mention that? I'm self-taught and a tarot card reader and a Reiki master that has a lineage. So with all of those lovely toolkits, and I'm adding with the constellation family at some point, okay, mindfulness practices is actively part of the inner growth mindset, and that's because you have mindset skills, and I'm attachment trauma informed again. So educational certificates, hour certificates, those things that people are looking to make sound fabulous, I'm not, because that's the point. Self-agents are people who have common sense. Those who instead copy each other to the back of their hand are not going to be a part of our infinite higher human consciousness potential experiencing community, because they do have what it takes, but they're quitting before they even begin because they're cowardly not taking themselves to get that emotional body online. And I will share with you, understanding and communication, again, is an art form for the self-agents. We excel in it. And the ones who twist words and change stories up, they're simply going to be people who we will know are fake, not fake because they're wanting. No, they lack self-aware, accountability, regulation skills in their restorative embodiment. They don't know social engagement. They have actively a body that weighs them down, a life that they find that suffers, and that Zen Master Laundry is proof of that. So people who don't take their trauma time seriously with Pat Ogden and getting out of it. Once you're out of it, again, that's where you can say, I do want personal development. It does work, not it's pseudoscience bullshit, because pseudoscience is definitely fine. We're not snake oil people, because you know what? If I'm snake oil, then the therapists who are not healed are snake oil. And people who like to use words like that, I find them quite teenager-ish. And as Patrick Tiahan would point out, yes, they're weaponizing psych education words, and or they're just weaponizing words. At the same time, I'm going to say they gave me an opportunity, every one of them that uses words like that, to notice, did your affect come up, Maria, when they called the mystics, the spiritual ones, snake oil people? You know what, you're right. I did find it a little personal. So was it justified for you to get in anger? Well, anger is meaning me wanting to correct it, but can you correct ignorance? Can you correct closed-mindedness? Can you actively correct anything that has already been taken place? Oh, but you could make a difference. Really, martyr superior. You think so? Are you that pushy? You must not know what people who are deaf. So the part of how it works when you do know how to be a functional child adult is it's not personal. You actively take the opportunity to become emotionally aware with your own inner world, and you create resiliency because, again, I got a story with a feeling and I can actually pin it down. And here's your equanimous stance. It's common centered. It's not emotionless. It's actual emotional empowerment, which is what we do here. Mastery of yourself is the most amazing and thrilling of experiences because you're continuing integration of the brain, which is invigorating. You're continuing to create resiliency in what is your own mammalian heritage, restorative embodiment. And so you're continuing to play fun with your thoughts and your feelings, and you don't have to involve anybody because anybody doesn't have anything to do with your nervous system or your affect. That's why it's good, Maria. It's not personal. And your anger is unnecessary. You don't need to correct them. Their manners are theirs. And actually, you know what? You are charged right now with a word. It's just a word. Words have no power. Or do they, Maria? No, they don't. Okay, but the charge, right? That would make that word have power over you if you don't work with the charge. You know what? You're right. I like this game. I like the game of being able to notice what is personal and then to work with it with my ventral vagal state. And that's why anchored in ventral energy people, that means confident people that have all their child parts that are all here and that love consistently and that have healthy self-worth are not afraid of losing anyone. And when Tio say you let him get away, who get away? My dog? I don't have a dog. I like cats. And they're very independent. What? No. If it's that easy for, anyone to change their mind about me, obviously they're not mine. And one, they're not mine, but my point is I'm an empowered woman here. I know what I want in life, so I don't change my mind. I don't even change me, but people keep wanting to tell me I change because, they say you can't be yourself. I am myself. So, with that, again, building and enhancing emotional awareness and resiliency, it's something that those of us who are mindfully living and loving, some mystics and spiritual in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and more functional child adults like to do together forever. Well, as long as we live, yes, and I live forever because I'm part of pure consciousness, and that's why I'm the woo-woo pseudoscience lady, and I'm okay with it. I love that I get to be a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, and that I get to share with you how amazing it is to be yourself with flaws, imperfections, and integrity as a functional child adult. Thank you, Terry Real, for making fierce lovers out of men and women who need you and theys. Thank you also, Patrick Tian, for everything you do for the childhood trauma survivors who come to you and are not the cowards who continue to instead go to Boca Raton. And thank you all for giving me the opportunity to let you know we're not snake oil, the mystics that do know what we're doing, and the mindfulness practitioners, the snake oil therapists who don't heal themselves, and the snake oil mystics and mindfulness practitioners who are blocked with laundry. Well, are they really snake oil? Is that really a nice word to use? No, they're basically adopted child part people. You know what I've noticed? Oh, they find themselves a crowd and they pat each other on the back, and the flat earthers have fun. I can't wait to meet one because, I know that any of my cherishable beliefs are falsifiable. Thanks, Sam Harris. Yes, because that's grounded in reality, person. And an idiot who says your bird's going to fall out of your asshole is the same idiot that I'm like, they must not know how to use their human secondary consciousness. Right here, not a dilemma. I'm motivated by the very basic 3 subcortical areas that you all have. That would be, thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel, PDP framework and IPNB framework. I love it. I know exactly how all of us work, and I know how I work, thanks to him. And so, with that being said, you will have the same subcortical areas if you want to believe in it. If you don't, you don't have to. And I'm not going to share that right now. But my point is, when I took the test, I was like, yep, that's me. And so I know that I'm not motivated by the need to get this. Maria's not motivated by that. And God already told me how to treat my brothers and sisters, and so did my mom. So did Jesus. So does Holy Spirit. So does Akash Source and Infinity and Beyond. And actively as an Akashic record reader, I know that there's love and fear, and those who are needing approval are all in the fear, because as Bezel van der Kolk has pointed out, when people are afraid, they look outside themselves for help. I'm not looking outside myself to help Maria. I am actively my own safe haven, secure base, so I can self-regulate in the absence of another human being, because I'm 45 and I have had the consistent capacity to build emotional resiliency, enhance it, and build more of emotional awareness, although that one's pretty standard. But I can tell you all about my stories in another time. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow, and share with those who you do know are their true self and they do want to build emotional, mental, and physical resiliency and awareness in a way that is fun for them. Because again, if it's not fun, then this is not the place for them. They want to go to a Patrick Tihan, a Terry Real. Terry Real is pretty good because he's probably the best one if it's not about childhood trauma stuff, since he talks to you in your face. Man, women don't matter. He don't, sugarcoat it. And anybody who's serious about being themselves is not wanting sugarcoating. They want the real deal. And he doesn't do patriarch, matriarch in a good or bad way, but he is raw and authentic on where we do have certain types of issues with the patriarch situation. It's not the patriarch itself. So again, I'm not going to speak for Terry Real. You can look him up and find him. He's awesome. And again, Patrick Tiahan is awesome too. And so are a bunch of other smart, amazing people. NICABM is a great resource for all of those smart human beings. And that's also on YouTube. And Dr. Daniel Fox, for those of you who do care about our lovely borderline personality community and narcissism community, he is the man. And he will tell you how amazing it is when he's working with the ones who heal. And I have so much joy to have met Kylie. She's online. She's a healing narcissist. And her borderline is in remission. And she's going to make a difference. I make a difference for those who are already here, ready to be rumble and rolling, but she's going to make a difference to tell all of those other people who don't believe that they can heal, that they can be healed. And that is very important. And so let's support the ones who are actively receiving hate mail because of ignorant human beings who say things like this: lack of imagination for evil. They lack the education. But we don't justify, oh, they triggered me, so I did this. Oh, but there's no justifying. Explanations allow us to understand. Institutions use those pieces of information and the data and the science to improve countries and the world, and there you go, unless they're ignorant human beings. So ignorance is not something that we support. And anyone who is talking to me about organization, I'm a political science major. My bachelor's and my master's is in international relations and diplomacy, so I know actively how an institution will work if it's effective. And if it's not, well, it will be revealed in time, because again, it is brilliant mental, emotional, and physical minds and human being hearts that will continue to be intelligent and thrive. And at that point, well, self-agents, again, we know how to excel in that which is communication and understanding where we find our brothers and sisters of 3D, 4D frequency and why, and what will happen with those who isolate themselves. Flat Earthers, I hope you're having a good time. And there's plenty of other groups. Some don't send their children to hospitals, and some go to museums that talk to them about no Darwinism. At that, I will say God never told me to be ignorant. My catechist didn't tell me to be ignorant. I don't know what happened with the staying stuck in the medieval times. All I can tell you is I'm so happy to know that scientists save every one of my brothers and sisters, because the kingdom of God, that heaven, is accessible with the restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person who's creating resiliency thanks to an integrated brain. And that's a owning of a sense of self, and that's ventral vagal state, and that's a person who has all their child parts asleep. Therefore, again, being yourself. It's amazing. You're anchored in ventral vagal state. You have your child parts asleep. You're a fierce lover, and there's empowered feminine, empowered masculine, divine counterparts. Yes, but we're not divine in the way of Nietzsche, where, oh God, it's okay. Let's organize it well. We'll be back with more again. Thanks for stopping by.